I wanted to do a quick follow up on Tommy Morrison since I don't usually editorialize much in the documentary style pieces. I've been reading through the comments, and I think most people have a pretty accurate take on Morrison's career. A few of you mentioned that he should have stuck it out with Kevin Rooney. That's a tough call. Rooney's best known as the guy who carried on Cus D'Amato's teachings and molded Mike Tyson into a wrecking ball. But his time with Morrison was very brief, more of a footnote than a foundation. I've always felt that the chemistry between a fighter and trainer matters more than the trainer's name. History has shown that big name trainers aren't always the right fit. Take Virgil Hunter, for example. He worked wonders with Andre Ward, but a lot of other pairings haven't panned out. Biggest example for me was Jermaine Taylor. He looked his best under Pat Burns. When he switched to Hall of Famer Emmanuel Stewart, the results were mixed. I thought Morrison had a good trainer in Tommy Vergetz. I thought he did a good job. I don't think his defeats can be blamed on his trainer. All that aside, what's always stood out to me about Morrison is where he came from. Jay, Oklahoma. A tiny town, no storied gyms, no Golden Gloves pedigree, no pipeline to Vegas or Madison Square Garden. Just a rural patch of nowhere that people don't usually escape. That Morrison rose out of that and became not just a heavyweight champion, but a Hollywood co-star in Rocky V, that's remarkable. Fighters from Philly or Detroit often have entire systems behind them. Morrison had nothing but grit, a punch, and a dream. People also love to criticize his chin or his defense, call him a front runner, dangerous when he's ahead, shaky when he's under fire. But I don't think that tells the full story. Later in his career, he did make some real adjustments. Case in point is the Ross Puritty fight. It's a little seen battle that I only briefly touched on in the doc, but it's a dramatic one. Morrison almost comes off the rails. He looks spent, borderline unraveling, like he did against Mercer or Bent. But this time he survives, and sometimes that's more impressive than any highlight reel KO. Purity came in with a misleading record and the clear role of opponent, but he wasn't reading from that script. Former defensive tackle from UTEP, Purity never meant to be a boxer. He took it up to lose weight after a herniated disc ended his football career. What started as a hobby turned into a paycheck. He was raw, awkward, but brutally tough. Against Morrison, you could already see what he'd become, the heavyweight division's most dangerous spoiler for that time period. After this fight, he'd go on to upset Jorge Luis Gonzalez, Joe Hip, and famously an undefeated Vladimir Klitschko. He was the kind of guy who exposed illusions. If you weren't all in, mentally, physically, he'd find that out for you. So this fight wasn't just filler. It showed that Morrison could dig deep and that Purity was never just a stepping stone. A reminder that some of the best fights happen when no one expects it.
Ponderous and real wide that he's not very effective. The early part of the fight is so important for Ross Puritty, obviously. You got to get through the onslaught, which is always there for Morrison. Nice uppercut by Ross Puritty. He let his counter off his heels. Now he bounces off the ropes and attacks. And he's slapping with the left hook, but he's landing against Morrison.
Yeah, got another uppercut in. Wow.
Ross Puritty, a delightful guy to talk to. Has a degree from UTEP where...
Would you wait in your walk? All right, stop punching and step back, both of you.
Good right hand by Tommy Morrison, but Puritty's still there. End of round one, and Puritty at least has got here the punches in the first round. As you see, Morrison pretty high connect percentage. Both got there with left hands that time.
It's interesting. Morrison is leaving himself open for the hook, but Puritty is not a big hooker.
Hooked him right there.
Yeah. And Puritty's getting the uppercut in. That's another punch that we have seen Morrison hit with from time to time as he leans in. That punch is really there for Puritty. Ross Puritty is keeping his mind on business. He is not awed by the punching power so far of Morrison. He's covering up well. He's countering pretty well.
Get him loose, both of you. Get them hands loose, you're holding.
He's making this competitive.
Break! Break.
Tommy Morrison has a tendency, if things don't go well for him early on, he sometimes gets a little frustrated. Most of those were caught on the gloves.
That's how he wants to make things start.
He's just a heavy-handed puncher, Tommy Morrison. There's just no question about that, but he took a combination from Puritty. End of round 2. A whole bunch of people who are out after our jobs.
At the National Sportscasters Camp that you and Dan Bellamy put together, it was a great time. Had a lot of fun. Tommy Morrison's having some fun.
Not too much. He's taking a couple of shots from Ross Puritty right here.
I'm going to send our best wishes out to all the campers there. A lot of talented young people who will get far in this business, and it's a rewarding experience.
3 good shots from Morrison. Back Puritty up.
And he is ripping him with those bottles.
Oh, what a left hand by Morrison. Puritty in big trouble. Morrison will keep him pinned in the corner as Puritty tries to cover up. Another big right hand. Puritty just can't get out of that corner.
Remember Michael Bent? The left hook just landed on Morrison, so don't write Puritty off just yet. And you're doing a great service by having that for the young people.
Great. We have a lot of talent in campus here. Puritty winds up the round by fighting back.
Not only did we get 10 rounds, but it was not only competitive in our minds. Marion Wilson definitely won the fight, though Mercer got the result, became a draw. It's a straight right hand I talked about in the keys to victory, and it's a punch normally.
Good work by Puritty, but he took a right hand for his elbows. Now he hurt it, and Morrison is down. And now it is Ross Puritty's show. How many times have we seen that? Morrison's still a little rocky. Morrison is still rocky. Good right hand for Puritty. Morrison now in the corner, and another right hand, and another right hand by Puritty. And Morrison is still in trouble with 2 minutes to go in the round.
It was the uppercut that did it.
Slapping left hand, the right hand again. And Morrison's about to go again. A good right hand, Morrison in trouble again. Puritty jumps on him once more. The uppercut, and a right hand pushes Morrison into the ropes. Welcome up here at the convention hall.
Morrison doing a good job of holding on right now.
Still a long way to go in round number 6, and Morrison still on wobbly legs, trying to fight back.
Purity's got nothing left to throw right now.
They really let him off. 30 seconds left, 6th round.
Somewhere Herbie Hyde is breathing at least a temporary sigh of relief. Well, Puritty is certainly tired. There's no question about that. He may have expended all his energy in trying to knock Tommy Morrison out.
Looks to me like his legs are shut.
I don't know how much Morrison has left on his punch.
I was just going to say, after I know that I made that statement that Morrison will knock Puritty out, that's dependent on the fact that Morrison hasn't anything left either, and I'm not sure he does.
His leverage on those punches is not that great.
Here are the numbers through 7 rounds. Morrison still with a decided edge. The 6th round was a near disaster. There was the uppercut.
Here's the posture that really Morrison doesn't want to be. He's still getting hit with those uppercuts. Puritty wants him to come in so he can counterpunch him off the ropes. Morrison's actually better off in the center of the ring right.
Fighting to get back in the picture, and I'm not sure they're all the way into the picture. They're still sort of on the periphery, both Tommy Morrison and Ray Mercer. A reminder once again, we're running a little bit late. Baseball tonight coming up right after Top Rank Boxing.
Just couldn't get it done.
Crowd starting to get a little restless here with the non-activity.
And we remind you that Tommy Morrison already has a fight planned against Herbie Hyde, the WBO champion, October 28th in Hong Kong. So a lot riding on him winning this fight.
Herbie Hyde, of course, beating Michael Bent, who in turn beat Tommy Morrison to earn that shot. of round number 9. Morrison wins this round also. Meanwhile, we're in the final round. Tommy Morrison working on salvaging a reputation here, and he feels fairly confident will win the fight.
Unless, of course, he should get knocked out in the meantime.
There is that.
And he's getting whacked right now.
Yes, he is. Down he goes again. And again, a long way to go.
Boy, you don't want to get knocked out in the first minute of a round.
Ross Puritty couldn't get him away.
Because even with a 2-point rounder, there is absolutely no guarantee. I have Morrison ahead by 2 points in this fight. Now, on my card, this knockdown would make the fight a draw.
And Morrison is still shaking. And there's the uppercut again. Boy, it won't take much.
No. And really on the inside is where Morrison doesn't want to be. He really would almost rather be on the outside where he can't get hit with that uppercut.
But now he's tired. He wants to grab and clutch and hang on.
Well, Ross Puritty, if he's got anything left, better go after it now. He better start winging uppercuts on the inside.
Once again,
Throw a single punch. Ross Puritty has a chance for a dramatic win right there.
good left hook. Still time.
The uppercut is there for him.
He just caught at it. Straight right, miss. Left hand gets there. Uppercut again. Missed the right hand. And now they'll take a timeout.
Come on, let's go, baby.
Well, in my mind, what happened right there gives Ross Puritty a 10-8 round. The scoring will be quite intriguing.
Inside of 10 seconds left. Another big round for Puritty, but the question, is it enough? And I'm not sure.
I have the fight a draw because I had Morrison ahead by 2 points going into that round, and that was a 2-point round for us. Puritty,
No question about it.
whatever. Let me say this to you. That man, Tommy Morrison.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got the scoring, and here it is. Judge John Pomeroy scored 95-94 Morrison. Judge Frank Burnett scores it 95-93 Puritty. And Judge Shafiq Rashada scored it even at 94-94, which means this goes into the boxing record books as a draw.
Now, that's not a bad decision.
This is a draw.
This was a very close fight. That is not a bad decision.
Moral victory for Ross Puritty, but there's really no such thing. Now, we talked about the fact that both of these fighters were looking to take a step forward in talking about Ray Mercer and talking about Tommy Morrison.